Welcome to Royal Daily Report, your trusted source for royal news and updates. Tom Bower has just found the answer to the biggest royal mystery that most people didn't even know was there. A quiet puzzle hiding in the background of Meghan Markle's life, hidden behind royal titles, smooth interviews, and carefully created public images. For years, the world believed one story about Meghan, the Hollywood actress who became a duchess with a clear, well-organized life story. But Bower says that story doesn't just bend a little, it breaks in half. According to him, once you start pulling at the loose threads in Meghan's story, you find something no one expected. Moments that don't match up, dates that don't line up, and a trail of records that tell a very different story about who Meghan really is and how old she might actually be. This isn't gossip. This isn't fan guessing. This is the kind of truth that shows up in printed documents in old memories, and in the quiet statements of people who were there from the beginning. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Because the question isn't just how old is Meghan Markle. The bigger question is, why were parts of her life rewritten in the first place? Don't forget to subscribe to Royal Daily Report for more exclusive royal updates. Now, let's begin where this unraveling truly starts. With a father who noticed something wrong before the royal dresses, before the palace gates, before the photographers shouted her name, Meghan Markle was simply a daughter. And Thomas Markle, her father, remembers those early days with the clarity most parents have. He remembers her plays, her school years, her dreams, and the timeline of her life long before the world ever cared about her age. But when Meghan became famous, Thomas noticed something strange. The story she told the world didn't match the timeline he carried in his head. Dates felt shifted. Ages felt changed. Events were placed in years that didn't line up with what he lived through. Thomas didn't storm onto talk shows. He didn't wave papers in the air. Instead, he spoke slowly, almost like someone giving a sworn statement. He described the Meghan he raised, a girl whose childhood events happened at certain times, in certain years, in ways that simply didn't match the public version that later appeared in palace press releases. He never accused, he never exaggerated. He simply hinted that Meghan's official birth year may not have been as accurate as the world was told. Coming from a father, those words carry a different kind of weight. This wasn't someone guessing. This wasn't someone digging online. This was someone who held her baby pictures in his hands. Someone who remembered the truth because he witnessed it. And Thomas Markle's quiet concerns were the first crack. A small but powerful break in the smooth royal story. A crack big enough for a strange, forgotten piece of evidence to slip through. Stay tuned to Royal Daily Report. We bring you the stories others won't. March 1997. Teen girls across America flipped through 17 magazine. The trusted, glossy magazine filled with fashion, college dreams, and young faces hoping to break into the world. Deep inside that issue on page 90 sits a small list of names. Nothing special at first glance, just hopeful young people featured for school programs and youth competitions. And then one line stands out. Meghan Markle, age 21, not 15, not a typo, not a rounding error. 21, printed in ink, sold across the country. Stored in archives long before she met Harry, long before any PR team existed to shape her public identity. If this magazine is correct, then Meghan was not born in 1981. Her real birth year would be closer to 1975 or 1976, making her about 6 years older than the world believes. 6 years might seem small, but in a public identity, 6 years can rewrite everything. Her graduation age, her acting debut age, her age entering Hollywood, her age when she met Prince Harry, her age when she married into royalty, and suddenly the version of Meghan the world was introduced to the rising. 36-year-old actress stepping into a royal fairy tale might not be the version reflected in her earliest records. This magazine didn't whisper a rumor. It shouted a contradiction. A contradiction that turned Meghan's age from a fixed point into the opening chapter of a larger mystery. Just when the age mystery seemed complicated enough, another unexpected twist came up. One involving Meghan's first pregnancy and the birth of Archie. According to Tom Bower, Meghan's story surrounding Archie's arrival wasn't just confusing, it was constructed. His claim wasn't a loud accusation, it wasn't drama for headlines. It was a calm statement, almost clinical, based on years of speaking with people who had direct knowledge of the events. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report now. Don't miss any breaking royal news. He suggested that the polished version of Archie's birth, the one Meghan and Harry shared with the public, didn't match how things actually worked behind closed doors. And this wasn't the kind of mistake someone makes by accident. This was the kind of story that sounded almost too perfect. A peaceful labor to epidurals, a quick recovery, a glowing duchess whisked home with her newborn in just 2 hours. It read more like the ending of a movie than a real hospital experience. And that's exactly what made people pause, because real birth stories rarely look like fairy tales. They're messy, slow, unpredictable, and always guided by strict medical rules. So, when Bauer pointed out these contradictions, he opened the door to a second mystery. If the age timeline had gaps, the birth story had entire chapters missing. And that's when someone unexpected stepped forward, someone who worked inside Portland Hospital itself. Word eventually came from inside Portland Hospital, the very place where Meghan reportedly gave birth. Not a fan theory, not a rumor, whispered online. This came from someone who knew how the hospital operated, someone familiar with its rules, its procedures, and how deliveries actually happen within those private, heavily monitored walls. And according to this insider, the story Harry shared in his memoir, Spare, simply didn't line up with reality. First, the detail about 2 epidurals. In medical practice, epidurals don't work like a double dose of painkillers. You don't receive 2 separate ones within hours. An epidural is placed once and runs continuously. So the idea of Meghan receiving 2 was described as medically unusual, almost impossible under standard procedures. Then came the timeline. According to Harry, Meghan gave birth, recovered, and left the hospital all within just 2 hours. But anyone familiar with childbirth knows that's not how it works. After an epidural, you can't walk for hours. You can't simply stand up, gather your things, and head home. Your vitals must be monitored. Your blood pressure checked, your mobility assessed, your body observed for complications, even under perfect conditions. This takes time. Royal Daily Report brings you the truth behind the royal headlines. And then there's the drive. Portland Hospital to Frogmore Cottage is nearly an hour away. That means everything. The delivery, the medical checks, the discharge process would have had to fit inside a single hour. To hospital staff, this wasn't just unlikely, it was logistically impossible. Yet the public was told a story coated in calmness, candles, and wellness imagery. The insider who spoke out didn't describe chaos or conspiracy. They simply said, "That's not how it works here." And that was enough to deepen the mystery even further. The deeper you look into Archie's birth narrative, the more the contradictions stack up. This wasn't just about epidurals or timing. It was about medical rules, rules that are strict for a reason. According to multiple medical professionals familiar with high-risk pregnancies, Meghan would have been classified as geriatric during her pregnancy. The term sounds harsh, but it simply means she was over 35. Mothers in this category receive extra monitoring, extra caution, and longer observation periods to ensure safety for both mother and child. But the story told publicly didn't match that level of care at all. Harry described a serene birth setting, dim lights, scented candles, birthing balls, and a peaceful atmosphere. Beautiful, yes, but also unrealistic for someone labeled high risk. Hospitals like Portland do not permit SPALT-like setups for mothers who require close observation. The lighting, the equipment, even the room setup must follow strict medical guidelines. Then there was the mention of preeclampsia, one of the most serious complications a pregnant woman can face. If Meghan truly experienced even early symptoms of this condition, protocol would demand magnesium treatments, consistent monitoring, and bed rest, not a 2-hour hospital stay and a quick drive home. So the story the world received didn't match medical reality. It matched something else entirely: narrative management. It was almost as if someone wanted the birth to appear effortless, graceful, and magical. The perfect royal moment. The kind of moment that photographs well and supports the image of a fairy tale. But real life doesn't bend for stories. Medical facts don't soften for public relations. And every step of Meghan's official birth narrative felt shaped, edited, trimmed to perfection. Which makes people ask, if the birth story was polished, what else might have been? This was Royal Daily Report, bringing you the untold stories from the royal world. Subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Stay informed, stay connected, with Royal Daily Report.